I'm going to show you how to make a festive wreath just like this one. My name is Henck Röling and I am a Kew Champion. So today I'm going to show you how to make a wreath, and it's very simple. So it could be a very seasonal wreath. It's something that you can do during autumn because there's so many beautiful materials, but also for Christmas. We are sort of going for a beginner's wreath, I would say. So foraging is a lovely way to get out in nature and find lots of beautiful products. There's lots of loveliness to find in nature. I would encourage to forage, but do it responsibly. For the two wreaths that you see here, I used a very simple coat hanger from the dry cleaner. So that's the base, and I mean, everyone's got some lying around. I've got a few. And you basically start folding that into a wreath. It's that simple. And then always you have a nice hook to hang it from. So it's very useful. So slowly starting to make it into this beautiful ring. And then we can tie all the materials on this base with either twine, which is this brown stuff, or what you can use is reel wire, so which is a little spool with a thin metal wire. That's something that florists use a lot. I find it easier to work with, but this is obviously better biodegradable if you're very keen on being sustainable. And you basically attach your wire to the frame as such, and the good thing about the wire is that you can just sort of fold it and twist it and it's basically secure. And then we have to do a little bit of cutting. So all these slightly bigger branches, we got some lovely ivy, we got holly, we got some Scotch pine. We need to cut it in sort of small bite-sized pieces. So get your secateurs out, be careful. They are sharp. My rule of thumb is sort of about, for this size wreath, about 10 centimeters. Obviously, if you go for a much bigger wreath, you can do much bigger pieces. And what we're going to do now is we're going to work all the way around. And how I start is I make a little pile of greenery, basically on top of the wreath, as so. And it's going to be a little mixture of everything I've got. So a little bit of holly, a little bit of pine, a little bit of fir. You have that lying on top of your wreath base, and you try to go around that with your wire or your twine, and you pull that really, really tight. And I usually go round twice and then pull it really tight. And that is your first bit. And you slowly work down. So you have your point where you bind, and the next bit that you put on your wreath is going to be slightly lower than the first one. And there we go. We put on all our little elements, all the different, a bit of pine and a bit of fir. And we take the spool of reel wire and we go round once, pull it really tight, and go round again, and pull it tight again. And then slowly, bit by bit, you sort of cover the whole of the coat hanger, and you get this lovely full wreath. So that's what we're aiming for. And most of this will dry in beautifully as well, so you can have it on your front door for a long time. Or indoors if you want, but indoors it usually goes a little bit sort of crispy. It is really something that you could do with the whole family. And that is the beauty, I think, of Christmas, creating memories with people that you love. As a little boy, me and my brothers and sisters, I'm one of 6, we were reeled in on like the Saturday before Christmas, and everyone had to make a Christmas arrangement. So that's basically where my love for floristry sort of was born. Once you get sort of close to the part where you started, it gets really difficult. That is the point where some people give up and they're like, oh, I can't do it anymore. If you can show you the back of the wreath for a second. So here you can see where it's all tied. And now these stems that we sort of put on the front, but then you make sure that the stem is actually sort of going more towards the back, so that you don't get the stems sitting over the green on your front, because you still want it to be pretty. And I think if we do one more little sprig here, we'll have a full wreath. You might want to put one extra turn in, and then you can use that coat hanger to sort of wind your wire around to attach it and make sure that it doesn't become undone. And we cut it off. And there we have a wreath. And now the fun stuff starts, which is now we can start decorating. So we got some conifer cones, we got some bigger pine cones. If you dry these out at home, they'll just open up like a sunflower. And then you can sort of, it's easier to wire them. So what I do is I sort of try to hide the wire in between what are the scales of the pine cone? And then you twist once or twice, and then you have two prongs. And then you can move your pine cone in every direction that you want. I always quite like to sort of do a little grouping of them, so that one could just sort of sit right at the bottom there. And you sort of, because the wire is a bit stiffer, you can sort of go straight through the wreath that you made, and then you twist it, and it will sit there, and you can just sort of position it. So they will sort of sit upright like two little red robins in the bottom of your wreath. It's always a matter of editing. So you think, does it look good? Does it need something extra? Take a little bit of distance, have a cup of tea, and come back to it and think, oh yes, no, it still needs something there. So it's really about just deciding on what's best and what suits you as well. This beauty is so pretty. I'm thinking it needs to go somewhere. It has a natural sort of curve like that we can use. Like I said, you could even use little things of hydrangea or other bits that you could nestle into your wreath to sort of liven it up. And especially if you have like really nice and red ones, that is lovely to have in your wreath. And you can do that the same way. You just take a little bit of wire, and you make a little hairpin, turn one leg around the other, and it's two prongs to get into your wreath. And it really gives a sense of achievement once you finished it. And people will see that you have a different wreath on your front door than everyone else. And that is also a really nice thing, because people love that. They are like, oh my God, did you make that yourself? And you can say, yes, I did. If you use the wire, what I always do is I fold everything back into the wreath, because if you have sort of bits of wire sticking out in the back, it might scratch your door. So there is our wreath. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something today, and that you get creative at home. And of course, that you will come to Kew, because we have lots of exciting stuff coming up. We've got Christmas at Kew, which is all the light trail. Amazing. There is at Wakehurst, Glow Wild. And then we have in the new year, you guessed, orchids coming up. I hope you give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and hopefully see you again.